Manchester United Summer 2026. The window is open. The business has begun. Manchester United are moving. And they are moving with a purpose that this club has not shown in the transfer market for a very long time. The summer of 2026 is already shaping up to be one of the most significant windows in the post-Ferguson era, and we are only at the very beginning of it. Michael Carrick has taken charge. Ineos are backing him, and the signals coming out of Old Trafford right now suggest that this is not going to be another chaotic, reactive summer. This is going to be a structured, intelligent rebuild. So let us get into it. Every target, every rumour, every confirmed piece of business, and every decision that United's leadership is making right now, this is the full picture. The first confirmed piece of business under Michael Carrick is done. Ederson is a Manchester United player. Or at the very least, the deal is agreed, and it is one of the club's earliest transfer completions in recent memory. That matters more than people realise. It means United are not scrambling. They are not reacting. They went into this window knowing exactly who they wanted, and they moved quickly to get it done. Now, it is too early to judge whether Ederson will be a success. He has not yet been pictured in a Manchester United shirt. But the fact that this deal exists, confirmed, agreed and announced before pre-season has even begun, tells you something very important about the direction this club is taking. Compare that to previous summers. Compare that to windows where United went weeks into pre-season without a single new face walking through the door. The contrast is significant, and it is intentional. Here is what is at stake this summer for Manchester United. Michael Carrick is a new head coach stepping into one of the most scrutinised jobs in world football. Every signing he makes will be examined. Every target that gets away will be used against him. Every fee paid will be questioned. The margin for error is almost zero. On top of that, Ineos are trying to build something sustainable. Omar Berrada has been very clear about the philosophy. The template from last summer will be followed. Mix experience with youth. Target players who have proven themselves in the Premier League. And always make decisions with the long term in mind, not just the short term. That means every deal this summer carries double the weight. It is not just about strengthening the squad for next season. It is about proving that this new structure, this new way of doing business, actually works. If United get this summer wrong, the criticism will be enormous. If they get it right, this could be the foundation of something genuinely special. If you want deeper analysis on every move Manchester United make this summer, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is going to cover every development as it happens, with full context and no noise. Let us now go through everything we know, position by position, player by player. The confirmed business. Ederson is first. The deal for Ederson is done. And looking at the history of first signings under every Manchester United manager in the post-Ferguson era, this one compares very favourably. Think about what some of those early deals looked like. David Moyes brought in Marouane Fellaini from Everton for £27.5 million. It was a signing that never truly made sense for the style of football Moyes wanted to play, and Fellaini was widely seen as an awkward fit. Louis van Gaal's first deal was for Ander Herrera, which was a much better piece of business and a signing that delivered real value. Jose Mourinho brought in Eric Bailly for £30 million. A player who showed promise early, but was ultimately undone by injuries. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signed Dan James from Swansea City, a winger who provided energy but faded over time. Erik ten Hag went for Tyrell Malacia, a left-back who had one impressive season before injuries essentially ended his Manchester United career. And Ruben Amorim's first signing was Patrick Dorgu in January 2025, a 21-year-old from Lecce for £25 million, a player who ironically produced his best form after Amorim was sacked. Now we have Ederson as Michael Carrick's first signing. The fact that it is done early, before pre-season, before pressure builds, before other clubs can complicate the process, that is encouraging. It suggests Carrick and the recruitment team had a clear plan and executed it efficiently. That is exactly the kind of decisive, prepared approach that Berrada described when he spoke about the club's transfer philosophy. Paul Pogba on Michael Carrick. What it means. Now let us talk about something that was said publicly and should not be overlooked. Paul Pogba spoke about Michael Carrick, and his words were measured and genuine. He said Carrick is doing a great job. He spoke about Carrick's experience as assistant to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He described him as a great guy with a very good connection with the players. Read that carefully. Pogba is not just offering polite words. He is speaking from personal experience of working with Carrick inside a dressing room. When a player of Pogba's profile says that a manager has a very good connection with players, that is meaningful. One of the biggest criticisms of some recent Manchester United managers has been the disconnect between the coaching staff and the players. If Carrick genuinely has that connection, it could make a significant difference in how quickly this squad responds to his methods. Pogba also said, and this is important, that he thinks it is going to be good for United. That is a vote of confidence from someone who knows the environment from the inside. Omar Berrada sets the tone. The philosophy is clear. Before we go further into the targets, it is essential to understand the framework within which all of this business is being done. Omar Berrada spoke clearly about Manchester United's approach to this summer window. His words reveal a lot about what kind of deals supporters should expect. He said the template from last summer will be replicated in many ways. He acknowledged that you never know exactly how a window will unfold, but you must be prepared. He spoke about knowing which positions need to be strengthened. He spoke about being ready for unexpected exits and unexpected opportunities. Most importantly, he said the club wants players who have demonstrated they can perform in the Premier League, and perhaps also players who are doing very well outside the Premier League. He said all decisions will be made within the club's own terms and will not just be short-term fixes. That last point is critical. It rules out panic buys. It rules out desperation signings. It means every player coming into Old Trafford this summer should be someone who fits a clear profile, a clear role, and a clear long-term plan. That is the standard Berrada has publicly set, and it is the standard by which every signing this summer will be judged. The goalkeeper situation. Onana is leaving. While Ederson arrives, Andre Onana is heading in the other direction. The situation with Onana is straightforward. Trabzonspor's president has publicly stated that he hopes to reach an agreement with Onana in the coming days. Following his loan spell at the club, Manchester United are prepared to sell. The reason is financial. With profit and sustainability rules pressure in play, United need around £20 million from this sale to avoid taking a loss on the deal. The fee is described as the decisive factor in whether this transfer gets completed. This is a transaction driven by financial necessity as much as footballing logic. Onana arrived with high expectations and ultimately did not reach the level required for a club with Manchester United's ambitions. His loan move to Trabzonspor gave both parties a way to assess a permanent arrangement, and now it appears that move is likely to become permanent. The arrival of Ederson makes the goalkeeper position something that needs to be properly managed. Selling Onana cleanly at a fee that satisfies the financial regulations is a priority. And Trabzonspor's eagerness to complete this deal works in United's favour. My analysis here is simple. United need this deal done early. If Trabzonspor begin to drag their feet or negotiate aggressively downward, United's hands are somewhat tied by their financial situation. The club should push to get this resolved quickly and cleanly, so the focus can shift entirely to the business of bringing players in. Illiman Ndiaye, the winger United cannot afford to miss. Now let us talk about one of the most interesting situations of this entire summer window. Illiman Ndiaye at Everton. The situation is this. Manchester United's decision-makers hold Ndiaye in very high regard. There is genuine internal admiration for him at Old Trafford. He is Premier League proven. He is versatile. He is the kind of player that fits the profile Berrada described, someone who has demonstrated they can perform at this level. Everton want to keep him. They have been trying to get him to sign a new contract, but Ndiaye has refused to sign a deal that does not include an exit clause. That is significant. A player who insists on an exit clause is a player who is leaving a door open. He is not slamming it shut and committing long-term. That tells you something about where his head is. Everton's response to this contract standoff has been to set a price tag, and that price tag is £69 million. Now, Everton are using Anthony Gordon's move to Barcelona as their benchmark for how much their best attacking talent is worth. It is an interesting comparison, and it gives you an insight into how Everton are thinking about this negotiation. The realistic valuation of Ndiaye is probably closer to £60 million. But if Everton are asking 69 million and United really want him, the gap between those two figures is not insurmountable. This is a deal that could be done. However, there is a complication that could change everything. The World Cup. Senegal are competing in what is described as a group of death this summer, facing France, Norway and Iraq. Senegal have genuine quality and a real chance of going deep in the tournament, and Ndiaye is expected to be central to their campaign. If Ndiaye has a standout World Cup, his market value increases immediately. Other clubs will enter the picture. Everton will have even more leverage in negotiations. The £69 million asking price could easily become something much higher. The clear implication is that if Manchester United are serious about Ndiaye, they should try to move on this deal before the World Cup begins. Every day of delay increases the risk and the cost. My reading of this situation is that Ndiaye represents exactly the kind of signing that aligns with United's stated philosophy. Premier League proven, young enough to develop further, versatile enough to play multiple roles in the attack. If United move early and decisively, this deal is achievable. If they wait, they may find themselves in a bidding war they did not need to enter. Rafael Leão, high profile, high risk, high reward. Now we move to a target that has a very different profile. Rafael Leão of AC Milan. The situation here is confirmed at a basic level. Manchester United have held talks with the representatives of Leao as they assess a potential move. That is a real conversation. That is not speculation. That is actual contact between the two parties. Leao himself has spoken about his future in a way that is very relevant. He said he wants a new challenge outside of Serie A. He said he follows the Premier League with great attention. He said if he has the opportunity to play in the Premier League or La Liga, he would be very happy because, in his words, his talent would be exalted there. Those are the words of a player who is open to leaving. That is an important detail. However, AC Milan are approaching this situation strategically. They are expected to delay any sale until after the World Cup. Their reasoning is clear. Leao plays for Portugal. If he performs well at the World Cup, his value increases. Milan know this, and they are prepared to wait. This creates a problem for Manchester United. If they want Leao before his value potentially spikes, they would need to push for an agreement now. But Milan are holding firm on the timing. My analysis on Leao is straightforward. He is a premium talent. The fact that United have already held talks with his representatives shows serious intent. But this is a deal where the selling club holds considerable power. The World Cup timing works in Milan's favour, not United's. If United are committed to this signing, they will need to find a way to either agree terms with Milan before the tournament begins or be prepared to pay a premium after it ends. Mateus Fernandes. The midfield option. With real momentum, there is a deal that is generating genuine momentum inside the negotiations. Mateus Fernandes of West Ham United. The situation as it stands is clear. Manchester United are fully aware of the widespread interest in Fernandes. There are some exaggerations being published in certain places, but the core of the story is real. Talks are ongoing. Representatives remain confident that a deal can be reached, and Fernandes is described as a player who is really admired by many at Old Trafford. The phrase, many at Old Trafford, is important. This is not just one person inside the club who likes this player. There is a broader consensus. When multiple people inside the recruitment and coaching structure align on a target, it significantly increases the likelihood of a deal being pursued seriously. My reading here is that Fernandes is closer to being a Manchester United player than some of the other names being discussed. The language around this deal is confident. Talks are ongoing. Representatives are confident. That is a different level of engagement compared to clubs that United are simply monitoring at a distance. Lewis Hall, the left-back question. Manchester United's interest in Lewis Hall of Newcastle United is real. He is described as a player United like. But the situation is complicated. From Newcastle's side, they do not want to sell. They are not desperate to sell. They now have approximately €80 million in their pocket from the sale of Anthony Gordon to Barcelona. That financial cushion reduces the pressure on them to let another key player leave this summer. The assessment is that it is still very early in the process, and negotiating with Newcastle is never straightforward. That combination of factors means this is not a deal that will happen easily or quickly if it happens at all. My analysis: United clearly have a need at left back. Hall is identified as the type of player they want, but Newcastle's reluctance to sell, combined with their improved financial position after the Gordon deal, means United may need to either pay a significant premium or look at other options in that position. Alejandro Balde, the Barcelona option. Another left-back option has emerged, Alejandro Balde of Barcelona. Manchester United made inquiries about Balde after learning he could be available this summer. Barcelona are open to offers because of planned squad changes and financial needs. United continue to monitor his situation closely, and he is described as still highly rated by decision-makers at Old Trafford. This is an interesting one. Barcelona's financial situation means they are occasionally willing to move players they would prefer to keep. If United can identify a fee that works for both clubs, this could be an option worth pursuing seriously. Igor Thiago, the surprise striker target. Perhaps the most unexpected name on the list of United targets this summer is Igor Thiago of Brentford. The situation is this: Manchester United have identified Thiago as a surprise target as they explore attacking reinforcements, particularly if Joshua Zirkzee leaves the club. Brentford are expected to demand around £70 million. The deal is still at an early stage, but United's recruitment team are prepared to act if they decide to move forward. A fee of £70 million is a serious investment, and the fact that this is still described as early stage means there is a long way to go before this becomes a serious negotiation. But the fact that Thiago's name has surfaced as a potential target tells you that United are genuinely looking at their attacking options with a wide lens this summer. Morgan Gibbs-White. The wild card. Manchester United are among the clubs who admire Morgan Gibbs-White of Nottingham Forest, alongside Tottenham Hotspur, Chelsea and Aston Villa. However, the reality for any club interested in Gibbs-White is that Forest want him to stay for at least one more year, and all the interested clubs already have players in his preferred position. The assessment is that more could develop as the window progresses, but right now this is very much a wait-and-see situation. Tyler Fletcher, the academy gem getting noticed. Not everything happening at Manchester United this summer is about big money signings. There is a young player at the academy level who is generating very real attention. Tyler Fletcher. Scotland international Kenny McLean spoke about him in terms that are very difficult to ignore. McLean said he cannot speak highly enough of Fletcher. After his very first training session with the Scotland squad, McLean told the other players that he could see something special in the young midfielder. McLean also noted that he played alongside Tyler's father, Darren Fletcher, in his first couple of Scotland squads, and that Darren stood out a mile in their very first session together. McLean's conclusion was that Tyler is pretty similar to his father. That kind of endorsement from an experienced international player carries genuine weight. Fletcher is wearing the number 39 shirt for Manchester United's first team, which suggests he is already being integrated into the senior environment. This is a player worth watching very closely this summer and into next season. Garnacho is available at Chelsea. One final note that connects to Manchester United's history. Alejandro Garnacho, who left United to join Chelsea for £40 million, managed just one Premier League goal while starting 14 league games last season. Chelsea are now willing to consider offers for the 21-year-old as Xabi Alonso reshapes the squad. This is not directly a Manchester United story, but it is a reminder that transfer decisions have consequences. Garnacho left Old Trafford, joined Chelsea, and has not yet justified that investment. Whether that has any bearing on United's own forward planning this summer remains to be seen. Final analysis. Manchester United in the summer of 2026 are operating with more clarity and more structure than this club has shown in the transfer market for many years. The early signing of Ederson, the clear philosophy laid out by Omar Berrada, the specific and identifiable targets across multiple positions, all of this points to a club that knows what it is doing. The key deals to watch are Ndiaye and the World Cup timeline, the ongoing talks for Fernandes, the situation with Leao and Milan's reluctance to sell before the tournament, and the left-back question involving both Hall and Balde. This is a window that could define Michael Carrick's tenure before it has even properly started. Get it right, and United will go into next season with genuine belief. Get it wrong, and the questions will start immediately.